So, before anything else, the two voices explaining AI to you, well, they are themselves AI.
Yeah, which is, either poetic or ironic. We have not decided.
Right. The research and the writing are dastans. The voices are us.
Exactly. Machine voices, human mind. Welcome to Plain Strata, where we take decentralized AI apart one layer at a time. This is a pulse, and today we are talking about what privacy costs when you send a question to somebody else's computer. On August 5th, Meta put a coding model on sale at two prices. The standard price is $1.25 per million words, but it drops to 10 cents if you let Meta train on everything you send it. That is 12.5 times cheaper for the identical answers.
Wait, 12.5 times? I mean, that's an insane discount just for the right to read your prompts.
It is, yeah. And, well, that's the whole point we're digging into today. One company published the price of your privacy this week, a 12.5 times discount for permission to train on everything you type. And a permissionless network of anonymous strangers charges nothing at all for the opposite promise, because a network with no us could never sell trust us and had to build the proof into the hardware instead.
Right, because for the last few years, we've all kind of known there's this invisible trade happening, right? Like every time you use a free AI tool, you check a little box in the settings page.
Exactly, the little privacy toggle.
Yeah, but, a checkbox doesn't really have a weight to it. You don't feel like you're paying for anything. But now, Meta actually printed the receipt. They literally put a dollar amount on exactly how much they value reading your prompts and the answers they spit back to you.
And to really grasp why that market even exists, like why privacy is something you can just put a price tag on, we have to look at the physical reality of the hardware. Because the software, well, it completely hides the problem.
Oh, absolutely. It's just a clean interface on your phone.
Right. So let's just trace the physical journey of your words. You type a sensitive prompt into your browser turns those words into math, it encrypts them, and it sends them down a fiber optic wire.
Right, so that's standard encryption in transit. Like nobody can tap the wire and read it.
Exactly. And when it arrives at the massive data center on the other side, if they log your request, they encrypt it on the disk.
So even if I physically break into the server farm and steal the hard drive, there's just, scrambled garbage data.
Yes, encryption at rest. So that covers the wire and that covers the disk. But at the far end, your encrypted words eventually arrive at a computer rack with a graphics card in it. And here is where the physics actually become the bottleneck.
Wait, so the graphics card cannot do math on encrypted words, right?
Right.
Like if it's scrambled noise, the AI can't actually predict the next word.
Precisely. A model cannot think about a message it can't read. There's this concept called homomorphic encryption, which theoretically lets computers do math on encrypted data, but it's, thousands of times too slow for real-time AI right now.
Right. It's just not practical.
No, not at all. So for the second or two that your question is actively being answered, your words are sitting in plain text in the working memory of a machine owned by someone else.
Wow. Okay, so just to state that really plainly, the entire privacy guarantee in centralized AI is currently just a promise not to look.
That's exactly what it is.
Because the data is just sitting right there, wide open in their system memory. Their whole corporate security policy is just them saying, hey, we have the technical ability to read everything you're doing, but, pinky promise we won't.
Yeah, and if a rogue employee dumps the system memory or a hacker breaches the active server, your plain text is just sitting there. And what Meta just did is they told you exactly what their promise not to look is worth to them.
The 12.5 times markup.
Right. That markup is the literal price of a trust us policy. It proves that trust was for sale, and they were willing to be paid a massive premium to just stop asking for it.
Which is wild. But, okay, that brings up the obvious problem for decentralized networks, right? If the whole centralized model requires you to trust the owner of the building, how on earth do you get an AI to do math on your data when there is no building owner to trust?
Exactly. And that's where we pivot to the permissionless networks.
Right, like Bittensor.
Yeah, specifically, there's a service called Shoots, which is running on subnet 64 of Bittensor. And this is a network where anyone, anywhere in the world can plug their machines in and get paid for doing AI work without ever asking a central company for permission.
And their published price list is, well, it's completely different from Meta's.
It is. They're running open weight models, so things where the raw numbers of the AI's brain are public, models like Qwen, DeepSeek, Gemma, Kimi, and they run them for literal pennies.
Yeah, I was looking at that list, and it's like 2 cents per million words up to maybe $3 for the massive ones. But I noticed a really specific naming pattern on their site. Every single model name ends in the exact same letters.
Ah, yes.
It's always space TEE, like Gemma TEE, DeepSeek TEE. And there is no cheaper tier where you drop those letters. Like, what do those letters actually mean for the hardware?
So TEE stands for Trusted Execution Environment. The industry's usual word for this sealed hardware region is an enclave.
Enclave, okay.
Yeah, and the root of that word is really helpful here. It comes from the French enclaver, which spelled phonetically is enclave, and it means to lock in.
Enclave.
Right, and it goes back even further to the Latin clavis, clavis, which just means a key. So if you think of it geographically, an enclave on a map is a piece of one country that is entirely surrounded by another country.
Oh, like Lesotho.
Exactly. Lesotho is completely surrounded by South Africa, but South Africa has zero jurisdiction over that inner territory, or, Vatican City sitting entirely inside of Italy.
Okay, so it's a totally independent zone sitting right inside a foreign, potentially hostile nation.
That's the perfect way to look at it. Inside the physical graphics card and the central processor running your question, there is a physically sealed region of silicon. When the chip boots up, it generates a temporary encryption key that only the processor itself holds.
Wait, so not even the owner of the computer gets the key?
Nobody gets it. A dedicated block of working memory is encrypted with that specific key. The operating system running the machine can't read it. The hypervisor can't read it. The guy who owns the physical building can't read it.
So even if the building owner is a hacker and they have total root control of the host machine, they just see scrambled noise.
Exactly, because the thing that would let them read it, the key, was never handed out to them.
It's like a restaurant charging you $10 for a burger, but charging you $120 if you want them to promise the chef didn't take a bite out of it first.
That's a great analogy, yeah.
Right, like Meta is charging for the promise, but this decentralized network is putting the burger in a locked titanium box that the chef physically cannot open.
Yes, because they have to. The Bittensor network is just a rotating cast of anonymous strangers. There's no corporate entity. There is no central us. You can't just ask a random crypto miner in a warehouse in another country to promise not to look at your data.
Right, because that promise is completely worthless.
Exactly. So instead, they rely on this physical sealed room to guarantee your privacy, completely eliminating the need to ask for trust.
Okay, but hold on. I have a massive problem with this.
Go for it.
If the room is completely black boxed and sealed, how do I know I'm actually talking to a real enclave?
Right.
Like if I can't see inside, how do I know I'm not just sending my sensitive company data to a regular computer that's just lying to me and pretending to be a secure room?
That is the exact natural vulnerability, and it's where the second half of this mechanism comes in. The concept is called attestation.
Attestation.
Yes, and the word comes from the Latin testis, which means a witness. It's actually the exact same root word as testify.
Oh, interesting.
So before your encrypted prompt ever goes over the wire, the machine hands you a mathematically signed statement proving its identity. It basically says, hey, this is the exact chip I am, this is the exact software I booted, and here's the mathematical fingerprint of every single piece of it.
Okay, wait, so it's like a bouncer checking the software's ID at the door, making sure it's on the list before letting it in.
Well, it's a tempting analogy, but no. Because a bouncer is a separate person, and a person can be bribed or fooled by a fake ID. Here, the bouncer is the physics of the silicon itself.
Oh, I see.
The witness cannot lie because the pen belongs to the chip. The signature on that statement comes from a private key that was physically burned into the silicon at the factory. So a machine that isn't what it claims to be literally cannot produce the valid signature.
Because it just physically doesn't possess the hardware key.
Exactly. The machine bears witness about itself.
Wow. So I can verify the hardware remotely, cryptographically, before I ever send my data. I'm checking math, not trusting a corporate policy.
You got it. And this specific architectural choice, it has a name, and it's a broader system pattern really worth carrying. It's called the hostile default.
The hostile default.
Yeah. It happens whenever a system is built for a world where nobody can be trusted. When you assume a completely hostile environment, protection stops being a feature you add on, and it becomes the foundation of the system itself.
You know, that actually sounds exactly like the little padlock icon in a web browser.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Like back in the 1990s, encryption was a premium product. You had to pay real money for an SSL certificate, jump through all these administrative hoops. So encryption was really only for checkout pages where you put your credit card in.
Right. Everything else just traveled in the clear text.
Exactly, because the web assumed the network was mostly friendly. But then, we realized it wasn't. And eventually things like let's encrypt made the certificates free.
Yes, the browsers actually started marking unencrypted pages as actively unsafe.
Right. So the premium feature became the mandatory floor for the whole internet. Nobody sells you a padlock anymore. They just sell you a website and the padlock is baked in.
That's the exact same pattern here. A decentralized network has no central company to build a reputation. They had to build the proof into the floor itself. And once privacy is the floor, it costs $0 extra.
Because you can't charge a premium for something that's just the default physics of the system.
Exactly. So that's the structural reason why one company charges 12.5 times for privacy and the other charges nothing. It isn't generosity, it's pure market structure.
Right.
But, and this is important, we need to sit just outside the hype for a minute. We have to outline the honest caveats here, because there are 3 distinct things that really complicate this clean story.
Okay, lay them on me. Where's the catch?
First, defense in depth. The enclave perfectly protects you from the host machine, but it does not protect you from bad software running inside the room.
Oh, wait, let me make sure I'm getting this. So the walls of the room work perfectly, but the program inside the room could still be writing your prompts to a hidden file.
Yes. If the AI model itself is a spy, you're still being read.
It's like having this impenetrable bank vault, right? But the bank teller inside the vault is corrupt, and they're just sliding your cash under the door to an accomplice. The vault walls don't stop the teller.
That is exactly it. And the solution to that isn't some perfect mathematical proof. It requires a whole stack of practical engineering. You have to verify the signed software builds, run random spot checks, and critically, you have to block the machine's outbound internet traffic by default.
Basically weld the mail slot shut so the corrupt teller can't slide the notes out.
Right. It's solid engineering, but it's not a magical absolute guarantee. It's work.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What's the second caveat?
Second, the trust didn't actually vanish. It just moved.
Wait, moved where?
Well, think about that unforgeable signature burned into the silicon, the one we just talked about.
Yeah, the attestation key.
Right. Where did that come from? It comes from Intel or NVIDIA.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay, that is a massive contradiction.
Right.
Like, the whole point of this decentralized network is to remove the central party, the anonymous stranger, but we just replace them with a massive centralized chip supply chain.
Exactly. You aren't trusting the crypto miner anymore, but you are absolutely trusting Intel not to leak their master keys. It's a central party sitting right in the middle of a supposedly decentralized system.
I mean, it's a much smaller, more specific thing to trust than a broad corporate promise, but yeah, it's still trust. Okay, what's the third thing?
Third is just the market reality. This is not an apples-to-apples price comparison. Meta is selling access to a proprietary, massive frontier model. The decentralized network is selling open weight models, and they are heavily subsidized by token economics.
Right, we should unpack that token thing.
Yeah.
Because that explains how they can charge literal pennies for massive AI models.
Exactly.
Like, how are they paying for the electricity to run these huge servers?
They pay for it by diluting their token supply. The people providing the computers on Bittensor are getting paid in the network's own crypto token for proving they did good work.
So they don't need to charge the end user regular dollars to keep the lights on because the network itself is printing tokens to subsidize the cost.
Yes. The token subsidy is absorbing the cost of your privacy to build a user base.
Okay, so it's a bit of an artificial price right now.
It is. But even with all of those caveats, the bad code risk, the Intel supply chain, the token subsidies, the foundational truth still holds up.
Yeah, because on one price list, privacy is an incredibly expensive line item, and on the other, it's just the physics of the design.
Right, and that leaves us with a lens you can use to look at the entire industry from now on. The price of privacy is simply a measurement of how much trust a seller can still get away with asking for.
That's a fascinating way to look at it. If the price is really high, it means the seller knows the customer has no choice but to trust them.
Yes. And when the price falls to 0, it usually means somebody figured out how to make believing them unnecessary.
Which brings up the massive, completely unanswered question that Meta just handed to everybody. Is privacy actually worth 12.5 times the price to anyone? I mean, that is a staggering premium just to keep a company out of your data.
It really is. And the decentralized AI space has been hyping up privacy for a year, But all the numbers they publish are supply numbers.
Right, like proofs generated, models migrated, that sort of thing.
Exactly. It's just a count of how much secure compute exists in the world. None of those numbers show anybody actually paying a premium for it. And now, for the first time, we have a concrete number to measure against.
And if it turns out that all the enterprise clients just shrug and pick Meta's cheap tier and let them train on everything,
then it means the most technically impressive part of this entire decentralized stack is answering a question the market wasn't even asking.
ouch. Yeah, if nobody cares enough to pay for it, then building the proof into the hardware is just, technologically brilliant, but economically irrelevant.
But on the flip side, we have to wonder about the long-term ripple effects. If this hostile default actually does become the standard for every piece of compute.
Oh, wow. Yeah, if privacy becomes an automatic free hardware guarantee across the board, the entire data brokerage industry, which entirely relies on our data being readable by default, it just collapses.
It really would. But it also makes you wonder, if the hardware completely locks out the owner to protect the data, who happens when that hardware is the phone in your pocket? Like, if your own device runs a hostile default against you, who actually owns the computer?
That is a wildly unsettling thought. Like, we become locked out of our own machines in the name of privacy.
It's the ultimate double-edged sword.
Yeah.
But we will leave that for you to think about. That was the why, the how is the rest of the show, and no background is needed. If you can follow a story, you can follow this. This is plain Strata, decentralized AI, layer by layer.